Hey everyone, today we're going to be making some bows. We're going to make 4 different bows, and 2 of them are actually going to be pretty similar when you see the end result, but they're going to be different methods. Some people work better doing one method, some people like other methods. So we're going to do 4 bows total, and then at the end of the video, we're going to go ahead and compare a store-bought bow and then making your own bow and see how much money you save. Now I'm gonna try my best when I'm doing that because I did eyeball my bows and I didn't measure them exactly. Is if you do make a bow, whether it's the same method, a different method, just take a picture of it and show it to us. Share the method that you use. We really would love to see that. But anyway, without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so first you're gonna get your ribbon and some scissors and then some chenille straws, and we'll use those later. And then something to measure with. You can eyeball it if you want, but now if you look at this ribbon, you can see that the other side does not have any print, so you're gonna wanna make sure to remember that when we start. So I'm gonna measure about 12 to 13 inches. This is going to be the legs of the ribbon, whatever you'd like to call them. I call them the legs. But just kind of measure that. Then you are going to go ahead and make a loop, and this is going to be your middle loop, okay? And you're going to go ahead and put about 1 or 2 twists there, just to secure it nice and tight. And then you're going to go ahead and start your loops. So you have your center loop. Now this is your first loop, and you're going to cup it a little bit around like that. And then you're going to bring it to the other side. Now remember, the other side of the ribbon doesn't have any print, so I'm going to twist it. That way I get it to the pretty side. We're going to call that the pretty side. So I'm going to twist it there. That way I can get it pretty side up. And then we're going to make our other loop. It's going to just be a tad larger. No measurements, just go ahead and eyeball it. And then you have your first loop on each side. Exact, the middle is, I'm not going to count that because that's the middle. Then you're going to bring it to the other side and do the same exact thing. You're going to twist it, and like I said, you're going to cup it, you're going to twist it there. Sorry about the camera, and get pretty side up, and you're just going to grab it, make the loop a tad bigger, and then again do the same exact thing. And I kind of like to make everything perfect before it's finished, but go ahead and twist it pretty side up, make your second loop on the other side. So now you have 2 loops on each side, and remember I keep saying cup it. Right here you can see me cupping it. Alright, so twist it pretty side up. You're making your 3rd loop on the right. Okay, so twist it, and you have your 3rd loop on the right, all done. So I'm gonna cup it, hold my fingers around right there, you see me doing it. And then I'm gonna bring the ribbon again to the other side. Gonna twist it pretty side up. Guys, this is so easy. Alright, and then I'm going to have my 4th loop. Now, there's no rule on how many you have, you just keep making it bigger. So right now I have, 3 loops. I made a mistake. So now I have 3 loops on each side, okay? Now if you can see my finger here, I am holding it from the bottom and from the top, just to keep it secure. So I have 3 loops on each side right now. You can go to 4, 5, make it as big as you want. So I'm going to twist it pretty side up. Just remember, when you're making your loops, make each one a tad bigger. I think I made the right side just a little bit too big, but that's okay. It still looked great. So keep your fingers secure. Now you're going to twist it, and you literally just keep twisting it until you have the amount you want. So right now I'm on loop 4, twisting it. So now I have 4 loops on the left, and I have 4 loops on the right, and I've been securing it by holding my fingers in place like this. So I'm gonna do 1 more loop on each side so that I have 5. So I'm gonna twist it pretty side up, and now I have my 5th loop on the right. And then I'm going to do one more loop on the left because I only have 4 there right now, so I'm going to twist it, make it pretty side up. Note to self, plan for glitter. This was a very glittery project. Alright, so I've got my 5th loop secure, and now I've got my fingers held in place there, so hopefully you can see that. So I've got both fingers, I've got one thumb on the bottom, and then my pointer finger on the top. So I'm going to take my chenille straw, and I'm going to secure this using my straw. Now you can use wire if you'd like, but I'm just going to use these straws. They're just easier for me to use personally. So I'm going to go ahead and take it, put it through the first loop that we made, which is your center loop, and I'm going to bring that chenille straw to the bottom, and then I'm going to twist it so that it's secure. So you're just going to make it as tight as you think it needs to be, okay? And then now what you're going to do is you are going to go ahead and make all your loops pretty. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make my tails first, just to get that out of the way. So I need to cut just a portion of it. I made it a little bit too long. You can make your tails as long as you want. Just make sure instead of measuring for 12 to 13 inches, make it a little bit longer. But this is how long I want this to be. So I'm going to go ahead and cut them, make them even. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and fold each side to go ahead and make those slits in there. Now you're just going to do this right here. One time I did it the wrong way. Just make sure you do it the right way. So you're going to go ahead and make a slit. I'm going to exaggerate mine a lot. So I'm going to make it pretty high. So I love the way it looks when it's more exaggerated. So that is one side. Now we're going to go ahead and do the other side. Again, just go ahead and fold those together. And then you're going to take your scissors and cut that slit out. Okay. Again, I like to exaggerate mine. So once you have finished cutting those up, they look so cute. And might I mention, if you're using wire ribbon, which is probably preferred, it'll be easy for you to fix those ears if they're tilted up a little bit. So now you're gonna go ahead and unpuff everything, puff everything up, make it look really pretty. This is pretty simple, so I'm actually just gonna go ahead and fast forward this, and then you can see a picture of the end product, okay? Okay, so next you're going to take your next ribbon to make your bow, and you're going to flatten it out like this. Both sides are the same, so that makes it easier for this bow we're going to make. You're going to want something that has the same pattern on each side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this here as a weight, and that's going to be that extra amount right there on the left is going to be my tail, one of my tails. And then I'm just going to flatten this out evenly, and you'll see what I mean in just a minute. I'm going to flatten it out, and I'm using wired yarn again. You want to use wired yarn if you can. It just makes it so much easier. You don't have to, but it makes it a lot easier. So I'm going to go ahead and keep flattening and making these even pieces. You can, if you have a certain number of loops you want, you can go ahead and count. I am not going to count because I'm just eyeballing this here. So I'm going to just keep going until I think I have enough loops, because what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and tie in the middle. So depending on how many rows you're doing, you know, that's going to be about 2 loops on each side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fast forward this because I just keep doing this over and over again. And then you will see that at the end of it, we're going to have another tail. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and fast forward. Okay, so now you should be at the point where you're gonna finish your loops, and then you're just going to, instead of stopping it there, you're just gonna keep going all the way to the length of what you had earlier. And like I said, I'm just eyeballing it here, so I'm going to cut the amount that I had there when I first started making the bow. So I'm going to cut there. And now I am going to go ahead, now you can clip this if you want in the middle, but I'm just going to go ahead and scrunch it together and use my chenille straw here in just a minute. And you can use wire if you want, but I'm just going to use my chenille straws because I like using those, and that's what I have. So I'm going to go ahead and secure this pretty tight. Like I said, you can clip your ribbon on the sides if you want. It might help a little bit, but I don't feel like doing that. I just want to make it as easy as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten it with my chenille straw only. So now you have your two legs there. And I am just trying to keep them on a side that I want. You might have to play with it a little bit, but now all you have to do, it was so simple, so easy, all you have to do is go ahead and puff it up and make it super pretty. It's gonna take some time because I did quite a bit of loops there, so I'm going to go ahead and fast forward like I did for the previous video, because what you're gonna do is you're just gonna take one at a time, and I'm just gonna go back and forth from each side and place it how I want to. So I'm gonna fast forward right now. Alright, so next for our ribbon, our bow, we're going to take 2 pieces of yarn that are about the same size, and I did not measure them. You can measure them depending on how big you want, but you're going to meet them in the middle, laying one piece of the ribbon on top of the other a little bit more. So you can see my right side of the ribbon is on the left side a little bit more, making it not quite in the middle. But they're both going to be the same size, and then I had a piece of wire sticking out. What you're going to do is you're going to lay it on top like this, and then you're going to scrunch that ribbon together. Be careful if there are any pieces of wire sticking out, because I am using a wire ribbon again because it's just easier for me to manage. You don't have to, but it's a lot easier. And then I'm going to take my chenille straw. Now, one thing to mention about the chenille straws that I didn't mention before is that one great thing about them, other than tying your ribbon together, is that you can secure them on whatever you're putting on. So, for example, if you're putting your bows on a wreath, then you can use your straws to fasten it on there. And I promise this will not show in the end. You'll see what I do. So I'm going to twist it, make it really tight. That way it is secure. I had some issues with a piece of wire sticking out, so just be careful with your fingers. So I went ahead and put that over that little piece of wire, so I didn't have to fuss with it anymore. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take another piece of ribbon, and I am going to eyeball it, and it's going to be just a tad smaller than those bows that I made just now. Those little bows. So it's just going to be a tad smaller, but instead of it meeting in the middle, I'm making it to where it'll have some legs. Okay, So you'll see that in a minute what we will do. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that piece that is similar to the other side. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring back my bows and scrunch this up like we did with the first one, okay? So you are going to scrunch it up, and you don't have to take another chenille straw, but I went ahead and took another one because I tied the other one around twice because of that piece of wire sticking out, and I didn't think I would have enough, so I just went ahead and did it this way and just put another piece because I'm going to cover it anyway. So and I'm just going to twist it, fasten it on there so that it doesn't come out. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to head and poof these up a little bit. And you can do this before or after you're finished. I typically do this last, but that's okay. I was really excited about this one. I think this pattern is really popular this year. Okay. So you're gonna poof it up a little bit, poof it up a little bit. And then you're going to go ahead and, see, I told you, I am a perfectionist, so I like to make it look nice before I'm finished, which makes it take longer. So just get your stuff done before you make it look great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut. I'm not going to exaggerate these as much as I did with the first bow that we made. So I'm just going to put a little cut there. And then I'm going to do the same with the other side. Just make sure you do it the right way. I have done it the wrong way before. So then you'll have to start all over. Unless you are fine with it, that is okay. So I'm going to do it with this side. And then I told you guys that I'm going to go ahead and cover that middle part. So I'm just gonna cut a piece of ribbon. Again, I'm not measuring it. You can measure it if you want. I am just gonna go ahead and cut it. And now there's some ways you can do this. You can, if you want it to be nice and poofy, you can go ahead and just use a glue, hot glue gun if you want. You can staple it, whatever you want to do. But I'm just going to tie it because I don't have any more glue sticks. So go ahead and do it this way. And you can probably make it still a little poofy. I like it this way. So, and there you have it. That is our bow, and you'll see it in the next picture. So for the last bow we're going to make, this is a small bow, and this is a really, really easy thing to do, but you're going to first cut a piece because you're going to tie it in the middle at some point, just something big enough. And then I didn't have much left in this, so I just went ahead and took out the whole thing. And you're going to want to take out quite a bit when you're doing it, and you'll see why. Now I will say the ribbon that I got was a little bit thinner than I expected, so you want to get something that's a little bit thicker than what I have here. And I'm going to show you this twice, so don't worry. So you're going to hold it in your hand, whichever hand you want. I'm holding my left hand. And you're going to make an L with your fingers, and you are just going to go back and forth between your fingers like this. Now we're going to do this twice so you can see. But you're just going to keep going. Like I said, I wish this was a little bit thicker than I had expected, because if it's a little bit thicker, it fills up more. So with this thin bow here, it left a little bit of space. Now it's still cute and it's still gonna go on a gift, but see, you're gonna go back and forth on your L that you have, and I'm just holding the end of the piece with my fingers. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and grab the middle, right like this, grab the middle. Like I said, this was not the yarn I expect, or excuse me, not yarn, this is not the ribbon that I expected, but you're going to go ahead and grab the middle here. And then you're going to make 2 slits on each side. Now just be careful you do not cut through there. I have done that. So just go ahead and cut one slit on each side, and you can angle it a little bit so you don't cut the middle in accident, but I felt comfortable doing it this way. So there you go, one slit, because what's going to happen is on each side, once you make your slit, you're going to go ahead and tie that extra ribbon that we had cut earlier, so that when you're poofing out your bow, they're going to go in all sorts of directions. So I needed to make this one a little bit bigger. So I'm going to go ahead and tie that ribbon that we had cut earlier. I'm going to tie it in the middle, make it pretty tight because you don't want anything to come undone. So I'm going to set it down and tie it. It's harder to do the smaller bows, but they're really cute. Alright, so once you have tied it, what you're going to do is, now I've got all sorts of little danglies out and I'll fix that later, but what you're going to do is you're going to just take each little puff and you're going to go ahead and move them out like you do with your other ribbons. Now you made those slits which should let it go in different directions, so I'm going to go ahead and fast forward this. Okay, so if you look at this image here, this is a bow that I found online at the same place that I bought the ribbon from. And now this bow is just a tad bigger because you look at the legs, they're a little bit longer, but that's $8.98 for one bow. Okay, so if you decide that, okay, I want two bows, that is $8.98 times 2, which is $17.96. Okay, that's a lot of money for bows. But if you look in this picture, this is that ribbon that I bought. It's $4.98, and I can actually make 2 large bows out of that ribbon. So do you want to spend $17.96 on 2 bows, or spend $4.98 on 2 bows? You know, it all does depend on the size you choose to make your bow, but really with what we made, you know, I saved quite a bit of money. Essentially, you are saving $12.98. So I would definitely encourage you to try doing that instead.